Hey everyone, welcome to this new moon Sidereal Astrology forecast for the new moon on Saturday, January 21st of 2023. All right, so a new beginning here right in between the constellations of Sagittarius and also Capricorn. If you're expecting me to say just Capricorn, then be sure to check out the link down below for more information. We are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology, and it's called true Sidereal Astrology. All right, so new beginnings here in the constellation of the free spirit, Sagittarius, where we had the last lunar cycle, but it's really closing out a lot of that energy and really starting to transition more into the responsible, disciplined, achievement, productive energies of Capricorn for the coming weeks, because the sun's going to be transitioning into here and eventually Mercury as well. So a lot of this energy around still listening, seeing what new does arise, but perhaps starting to incorporate a little bit of still that open-mindedness, that bigger view of Sagittarius, but starting to implement that perspective and those possibilities and those things we can be open-minded about in a way that is grounded, constructive, disciplined, productive is a great way of working with it. The new moon will be conjunct Pluto. Pluto is transitioning into Capricorn here next year and in the coming years, which is really starting a lot of transformation to a lot of the structures in our lives personally and also collectively coming up. And so this is a bit of a sneak peek and a bit of a new beginning to kind of get an idea of what that could be about. And so with this new moon, I think it's great to allow for that empowerment, to allow for those changes, the death and rebirth, the transformations, which of course give way to new beginnings. And there's also going to be trine up to Mars, so there could be a bit of assertiveness, maybe some fiery energy where things are moving forward a little bit now that Mars is direct, and some sextile up to Jupiter, which is a little bit of an open-mindedness. Again, a bit of that Sagittarius energy supporting it as well. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the chart for the new moon. So the exact time of the new moon will be around 1720 Eastern time of the Americas. We are using topocentric on this channel, which is using the surface of the earth. So you will notice those times do change not only by time zone, but also by latitude as well. So, but for all intents and purposes, it will be here around the Saturday time period, and we'll usually feel it at least a couple days before and a couple days after. All right, but also as you can see here, we are using the visible sky, the uneven size of the constellations as they're seen visibly. And so this is very different from mainstream astrology. And you will notice a lot of the sign changes are different. Like in mainstream Western, they're putting this new moon towards the end of Capricorn. But if you do look up at the sky, you will see it right in between Sagittarius and Capricorn, but certainly leaning a little bit closer to Capricorn by maybe a degree. And that is where the sun's transitioning anyway. So that is going to be the more dominant energy with it, is the Capricorn energy. But yeah, new beginnings. It is good as we approach Saturday to end the current lunar month, to let the energies die down, complete things. It's a spiritual time. It's a good time of going inward, and in the context of Sagittarius, in some sense wrapping up some of that adventurous, free-spirited energy that we cultivated in the last lunar month, but also again bringing it into the new lunar month, since the new moon is so close to Sag, and we still do have Mercury in Sagittarius as well. So there is that influence. The importance of being open-minded, the importance of listening to our spirit, what gives us that sense of spirit, free-spiritedness, open-mindedness, adventurousness, possibility, potential. But the next step in the evolution of life goes from, after seeing that possibility or gaining that sense of purpose, then grounding it. And so Capricorn is all about climbing that mountain and taking things, of course, one step at a time, one foot placed in the mountain, one at a time is how we scale mountains. So it is about taking that more slow, grounded, responsible approach to things. So a good time to, again, just sit with the energy, see what new is emerging here. But if there are any intentions you do want to set around what you know will take time, what you do want to build in your life, as Capricorn is the builder, what you do want to lay some solid foundations with, that could require perhaps a bit of responsibility or discipline or perseverance, even outside of career. Maybe it's for relationships for you. Maybe it's home life for you. Maybe it's resources for you, whatever. Maybe spirituality for others, typically wherever Capricorn would be in your chart and where Saturn's likely transiting at the moment as well. But nonetheless, across all areas of life, how can we now incorporate more of this grounded energy of Capricorn? Sit with it, see what new arises, but also setting new intentions on developing it is always a great way of working with any new lunar cycle. Now, the new moon will be conjunct deep and transformative Pluto, which is, Pluto is finishing Sagittarius, which has been, decade and a half of a lot of transformations and changes to our perspectives collectively and our worldview, personally and collectively. But that is starting to transition into Capricorn. This is going to be mostly in 2024, next year, and then the couple years after that, the transition. But of course, Pluto will be there for about the 15 years of his Pluto and Capricorn transit. Just following that, last time we had this was during the late 1700s, when we saw a lot of the transformations with the governments in the world transitioning from monarchy into more democracy or modern day republics that we have today. So a lot of transformations happened at that time. I am expecting not, of course, history to repeat in that same way, but something to rhyme with it, something similar unfolding with this over the coming years. And this gives us a bit of a sneak peek as to what this is. Now, this is, of course, collectively, but also personally as well. It's a good time to see what can be transformed and changed with our personal structures, the things we've built in our life. Perhaps more so for the status quo or what we thought we needed to do for, the physical world or for responsibilities. And that's all very important and very good, especially with Saturn transiting through here at the moment. It's a great time for this. But there perhaps might be some things that are outworn that need to be transformed as well. So this gives us this new moon, this whole lunar cycle really gives us a sneak peek as to what is on the horizon, mostly next year and the following years with Pluto transitioning into Capricorn. But a great way of working with this is to be willing to transform, to be willing to allow for the death of certain things, the outworn, the things no longer serving us, the things that perhaps we've operated more out of fear or safety and security. And now as we are embracing more of our fears, right? Facing our fears, which is what Pluto can really help us do during these conjunctions. Be aware of the underworld, be aware of our own underworld. And through that, face it, look at it in the face, go into the cave, embrace the dragon, so to speak. Not so much slaying the dragon, but to, befriend the dragon, this kind of energy. And in this way, by facing our fears, by facing our insecurities, we become empowered, right? We reintegrate those deeper aspects of the self, those lost and exiled aspects of the self that maybe we've shunned away, right? We can now re-embrace, reconnect with, and a new us, the phoenix rising out of the ashes, is a sort of symbol of this Pluto transformative energy. So just a good time to, again, sit with the energy and in this lunar cycle, see what emerges here. We'll actually get a little bit of a sneak peek of this on Wednesday as we approach the Saturday new moon, since the sun will be over Pluto there. But I have my weekly video explaining that. But this whole lunar cycle is really good for this awareness and new beginning with self-empowerment. All right, and there's also a trine up to Mars, who is now direct and moving forward in steady Taurus. And so there is a support here with this new beginning to take some action and initiative with things. So we could be feeling that energy now building momentum with Mars gaining his speed, and things like assertiveness, initiative, confidence, self-awareness, action. This can all be quite supportive now, at least, good to incorporate some of that energy to slowly move forward these new beginnings emerging out of Saturday. The other aspect is a sextile up to Jupiter, and so there's, again, the support from the Sagittarian side of things. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and so nice to see him in harmony, giving us, again, that worldview, that higher perspective, and maybe a little bit of that open-mindedness and adventurousness. Coming from Pisces, maybe a little more about connecting with our soul and making, might be a little bit easier to connect with our soul and go a little more with the flow and this kind of thing with this Pisces sort of always, in a sense, supporting the Capricorn energies. Now, just so you know, the dispositor, the ruler of Capricorn is Saturn, but Saturn's already placed within Capricorn, so it's just adding to that energy. But he is next to Venus. Venus will be passing over Saturn here on Sunday, the day after the new moon. And so having Venus close by to the dispositor, Saturn, could mean that out of these new beginnings, we could be seeing new values, new things we value, new enjoyments in life. And as a result of that, oftentimes too, perhaps some new relationship energy as well. So that could be emerging slowly out of this new moon. Good to, again, sit with it, see what does emerge, but also setting any intentions around values or relationships in a way that is grounded, responsible, disciplined is fantastic. All right, everyone. So that is the new moon in a nutshell. New beginnings. We're approaching it as we approach Saturday. Good to complete the energies of the previous lunar cycle, bring in some of that free-spirited open-mindedness of Sagittarius, which is in good harmony with the sextile with Jupiter. There is this deeper energy involved with this new moon, so good to be aware of that underworld within ourselves and of life, to embrace and face fears, insecurities, doubts, wounds, and do that healing or do that reintegrating that Pluto really helps us do. And as we do that, some parts of the self do shed away and new ones do emerge, leading to a much more empowered us, and transformed us as a result. Great to incorporate a lot of that into where we can build things in our life through taking time, through taking responsibility and perseverance, which is what the Capricorn energy is all about. We have the support with Mars to take a bit of that initiative with this, and Venus over Saturn helping us see perhaps some of these new values and things we enjoy, and perhaps relationship energy that can emerge out of it. All right, everyone. So have a fantastic new moon. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a free newsletter. We do get these videos released first before YouTube. There's a link to sign up down below for that. Have a great new moon, everyone. Thank you again for all of your support. And I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.